How pathetic can some people be?
Now, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and I like to stay clean. I get into an argument all the time with a friend of mine about drugs because nobody knows what to do about drugs anymore. My friend always says, if you legalize drugs, people won't take them anymore. Which I think is kind of a stupid argument myself. I think the only way people would ever stop taking drugs is if you made them legal, but to get them, you had to pick them up at the Department of Motor Vehicles. What do you mean this isn't the crack line? I've been on this line for 2 hours. That sucks. I'm going straight. Forget about it.
Dumbass of the day. 93.3 KZOZ.
I just had to go there not that long ago to re-register my boat.
How long did that take?
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Whoa.
I sat there. How long was I with the guy at the window? 90 seconds.
Oh, yeah, not long at all.
Jeez. But you have to go. You have to go.
I know you're not into kids' movies and cartoons, but you could probably find this on the internet now, just the isolated clip. It's the sloth scene because in Zootopia, it's a city ran with animals.
Okay.
And the ones that work at the DMV are sloths.
And they're super slow. It sounds funny.
This is the funniest damn scene. I swear to God. You just sit there and crack up laughing.
Sloth scene in Utopia?
Yeah, just type in DMV scene. DMV scene in Zootopia.
Oh, Zootopia.
Zootopia. It's the funniest thing you'll probably ever see in a movie. I mean, like, adult comedy, kid comedy, it doesn't matter. It applies. Anyways, I don't know if you knew any junior drug dealers. You said you didn't, but they knew guys. I had 2 friends that were junior drug dealers in high school.
What were they peddling? Just the smack?
Just weed, maybe.
Yeah. Isn't that smack?
No.
Oh, I don't know what smack is. Okay. A little cannabis?
I forget what they called it. I forget what the...
Grass, man.
I think it was called grass.
Yeah, it was grass. You think grass?
Scoring lids down at the park. It was funny because the junior drug dealers, they had like these crazy setups at their house. Like they had well-to-do, not well-to-do, but fine enough to do parents where they would have 2-story homes.
Okay.
And like the entire downstairs of their home would be theirs. Like it was like an apartment of theirs.
Oh, I was always jealous of my friends that had that. Well, you kind of had a situation where you had a D-light basement.
I did.
Type deal.
But I never thought about dealing drugs, using it as a front for a drug. But 2 of my friends did. And Steve was crazy. Like he would have like adults come and buying drugs from him. He'd be like, "Hey, dude, you want to come over?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, come over, whatever." And come over, hang out, and it would just be a constant stream of dudes. And he'd always be on the phone. He'd be like, "Hey, dude, do me a favor. My mom's home. Could you park like a few houses down?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." So I'd expect like somebody from our school to come walking in. No, like guy's 28 years old, all ripped and buffed, and look like he could kill us. And he comes walking. He's like, "Hey, man, you got the stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah." Steve's like 14 and he's selling the stuff. And I'm like, "Dude, what the hell is going? I'm never coming over here again."
There's the life lesson. If you have a 13-year-old that wants to move into the basement next year, nope, not till you're 16.
Underage girl called the police to report someone had stolen her drugs. This happened on Tuesday night. The girl called the police and said that 2 boys came to her home, put a gun to her head, and stole the marijuana that she had planned to sell them.
Oh.
Police said the incident involved a total of 5 teenagers, all between the ages of 14 and 16 years old. When they searched her house, they found drug paraphernalia all over the house, including marijuana, smoking pipes, digital scale, and a grinder, according to the police. Later, they arrested the alleged thieves and took them to the juvenile detention center.
What about her? Did she get arrested?
Yes. She admitted to the officers she arranged a drug deal. One of the boys told the police officers that he went over there under the guise of buying drugs, but planned to steal them instead. And then that's when things got ugly.
What's worse, stealing an illegal drug or selling illegal drugs? Is it worse
Who
to be
will-
a dealer or somebody who steals from a dealer?
Who will get the bigger sentence? Is that what you're asking on this one?
I'm pretty sure
It's
she's
a very
going to be
good
in
question.
trouble.
It's a very good
I
question.
think she's going to be in trouble.
But they pulled a gun out on her.
Oh, well, yeah, you get the gun charge. That's
That's deadly weapon.
It's felony right there.
Yeah. The teens, but they're all underage, so none of them will probably it'll all be handled in juvie, which is good news for them and their families because the rest of their teenage years are going to suck, but still,
Not the rest of their life.
nobody was hurt, thank God. Teens involved in the theft will likely face robbery and drug charges, and the girl will face a charge of possession of drug paraphernalia.
That's a dilemma, isn't it? Like, you call the cops, you're like, man, they just held me at gunpoint. They just stole my weed. Should I just call them and tell them somebody robbed me at gunpoint?
Well, see, that's the thing. You don't. But maybe you do, because you know what? You're living in a life that is out of control already if you're 15 and you're dealing drugs.
Yeah, you need help. You need help. Hopefully she gets it.
All teens involved in the incident will likely be charged as juveniles. So I think ultimately this will end up having a happy ending. This happened in Greenwood, Indiana, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you learn the lesson early in life. I think if you could get your kids to learn we spend so much time trying to protect our kids and keep them out of harm's way and trouble. But sometimes, you know what? You got to take them to that line. Show them the edge of the cliff. And that's what's happened in this incident. When you got in trouble for sending your dad's Maxima underneath the chain link fence, was it a Maxima? What kind of car did you put underneath the chain?
Maxima.
Yeah.
No, it was a barbed wire fence, and it was a Maxima.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a Maxima.
And did the authorities get involved in that at all? Or was that all, were you able to keep the authorities out of that?
I know they got involved and I got screwed over it because I was honest. And so what happened was I took a corner too fast, like I thought I was Magnum PI, and I went through.
Right. Was the Maximas surprisingly? I don't know how they are anymore, but back in the day, the Maxima had some.
Yeah,
had
they
some
were
power.
they put the 300Z engine in it,
Yeah.
and they made it a 4-door
And
sedan.
it was a sedan, and you're like, woo!
So yeah, anyways, I went to take a right turn, a 90-degree right turn. I hit that loose gravel that sits in between and I slid right off the road, broke a stop sign, went through a barbed wire fence, backed the car out of it, and went down the road.
It didn't sound like that when you were backing the car back out of the.
As I was, I don't remember what it sounded.
How could you
like.
not?
It was bad.
I would have remembered that sound forever.
But I was driving away, and then I saw a police officer coming, and he drove right past me, and he turned there, and he stopped, and he turned his lights on. And I said, okay, I better go back. And, he wrote me a ticket. And I can't remember what the ticket was, but I was just pissed at him. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I could have just left, and I come back to the scene of an accident because you were here because no one else was
arguing
here.
them like Richard Sherman did.
And there was no cell phones then, so I couldn't call anybody. So not that there was any damage except for to the stop sign, and the fence was going to be okay.
And the car.
Well, the car, yeah. And
had a nice little pinstripe paint job, custom made pinstripe paint job from the barbed wire fence.
Yeah. So
did but you were under the age, right? You were
no, I was 16.
But no, I mean you were still a minor.
I was a minor,
I
yeah,
guess
but I wasn't doing anything illegal by driving the car.
Yeah, you had a license and all that stuff. We're asking you the question this morning: is there anything that you did as a kid that there's no way you would have gotten out of if you would have done it as an adult?
Oh yeah, right. I'm sure I could start a list.
Like there are certain things that you do as kids that you're stupid and you're kids, and that's probably why juvenile laws exist.
We used to super soak people, and my
like
cousin
if you did that as an adult, if you like would somebody ride in the back of a truck and then.
We did it. Yeah, we were inside a car. We just rolled the back window down. It was like an SUV. I think it was my Nissan Pathfinder. And anyways, we would drive through parks and people would be out walking. And it was just water. And we would just, we would square people and then we'd take off. Yeah, let's go. Well, we got chased a couple of times. One time I was with my buddy Kevin Bailey and we were in his little Datsun. He had like a 76 or 7 Datsun, a little pickup. they were just piles of crap. I don't think the thing went over 60 miles an hour. And we super soaked this car.
Good getaway car.
This car salesman. It was down the downtown area there. All the car dealers were out. It was a nice day. The car salesman was out there by the sidewalk, and we nailed him. And he just jumped in a car that was right there on the lot and chased us. We got on the freeway. Eventually, he finally, after about 5 miles,
cooled off.
He cooled off, and he's like, "All right, this is
just play cool anyways."
What am I going to do?
He just got doused with water.
Yeah, it was just water. He probably was like, okay. But who knows? Because I had my buddy Mocha Clay who thought it'd be funny to pee in a super soaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not tolerating that. But if we would have got caught as kids.
You drew the line. You drew the line there.
Yeah, because.
See, I would have been like, well, if we're going to go that far, let's go that far and let's fill it with, something else.
What would you?
I would have been with Mocha. I had buddies.
No, see, that's what really gets you into trouble, though.
I know.
You get pulled over by the cops. It's just water. Yeah, he probably. I don't know what he's going to do to you. He might give you. A ticket
Tim
or something.
You know my friend Tim. He's probably he's got a spot reserved in hell right next to the big man. He's not a bad person. He's a practical joker.
Yeah, but he's the guy that takes him too far.
He takes it way too far. And one night in high school, Tim says to me, he goes, "Hey, come follow me around." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Guys, we're gonna go have some fun tonight. I got a car full of people. We need another car to fill up with other people." I was like, "Okay," because I'm dumb, and I'm like, "All right, you're my friend Tim. We can go ahead and do this." And one of the people in his car had stolen. We had a lot of hotels by where we lived because it was right by the airport in Seattle. So you could just walk into one of these hotels at any given moment and take a fire extinguisher. And so they took a fire extinguisher.
But they just leave them by the front door?
Well, no, like usually they would be by entrances into the hotels. And so you just walk into one of those entrances, grab a fire extinguisher and walk out. It was far too easy. So
just theft.
The fun joke that Tim liked to do was drive. He liked to be the driver and then have one of his buddies, Justin, who is also an unsavory individual. I believe he is a legal drug dealer now. Justin would ride in the passenger seat, and they would pull up to hitchhikers and act like they were going to give him a ride. So then when the hitchhiker would come up and be like, "All right, cool.
This is awful.
Cool, thanks for the ride," they would take the fire extinguisher with that big cone on the end of it. Right in the guy's face. And then take off.
Could that blind somebody?
And then take off laughing.
Oh, that's bad.
And after he did that one time, I'm like, "Dude, why am I following you?" And I stopped. I said, "I'm not following you. It's terrible."
Yeah, why am I following you? Why am I a part of this? I don't want anything to do with this.
Although the one time I did see it happen, it was quite comical.
I'm sure you laughed.
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately for the hitchhiker.
What did the hitchhiker do? I mean, I know you probably weren't there long, and I'm sure you took off, but
he covered his face and was like writhing around on the ground.
God, the guy's probably down on his luck as it is because he's got a hitchhike. And then, it's just like getting somebody on their ultimate low.
Worst possible thing. Like, if you would have done that.
There's a special place in hell. Like, you're right. For people like that.
They never got caught, okay? But if they would have got caught, it would have been like a slap on the wrist because they were all under the age of 18.
Oh,
but
God.
If you and I were to do that, pull up to hitchhikers with the fire extinguisher and go unload the fire extinguisher, like what the hell would happen to us now?
See, it's only funny, I think, if you do that to a friend, like somebody you know. Like if you do it to a complete stranger, you just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the guy that is like looking for a ride out on the seediest stretch of highway in America. This is where like the Green River Killer operated.
Oh, and Tim's doing good today. Karma hasn't caught up with him.
Yes, he's doing.
It's awesome to know.
Reasonably well, yes.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. 93.3 KZOZ rocks.